We finished up a hot, steamy day 8 here at Colts training camp here at Grand Park. I'm Nathan Brown, your Colts insider with the Indianapolis Star. He's Joel Erickson, and we're here to recap today's practice here on Saturday from Colts training camp. One of the probably most important injury updates that we've gotten from camp so far. Another receiver down in Josh Downs, Colts number 2 receiver, if everyone is healthy. Of course, Alec Pierce continues to work his way back from late March ankle surgery. He's been on the physically unable to perform list all of camp. Laquan Treadwell went down with a hamstring a couple days ago, and he's been out. Now Josh Downs out with a groin injury. He was out on the sidelines today, walking around in a t-shirt, so it was good to see him out here, but we don't exactly have an idea yet when he will be back, and so that's now maybe 3 of the Colts' top 4 or 5 receivers that are out with undetermined timetables. Puts this wide receiver group in a fairly precarious spot about halfway through training camp. What do you feel like that does for this team at the moment?
Well, I think you kind of saw it today in practice. It was a shortened session, so we didn't get a ton of passes, but Daniel Jones played well again, but they had trouble moving the ball down the field a lot because I just think the receivers have some issues. Ashton Doolin has kind of gotten into this rhythm in camp where it's been like he's had a drop early or at some point in the practice and then made several other plays. Nick Westbrook-Akine, to my way of thinking, has not really been able to keep it going the same way like we saw in the first week. We'll see if he can get it back. But it's just with Downs and Pierce out today, a lot of times lining up, you'd have Westbrook-Akine, Doolin, and Anthony Gold. And I think just going into a regular season game where they know they can key on Tyler Warren, they know they can key on JT out of the backfield, it's really tough for this passing game.
You don't maybe expect any one of these injuries to necessarily go into the regular season. At least I don't think we have any of that indication yet. But it seems like this is more so a picture of what can happen. Someone could go down with a groin injury or hamstring injury or a twisted ankle at any point in the regular season, and when you even get one or 2 of those to start to build up, this is, I would say, some of the dire place that this receiver group can be, and I think that's why you and I have felt like it would behoove the Colts to go and make a move for a guy like Keenan Allen. Deebo Samuel and Stephon Diggs are already off the board in terms of veteran free agent wide receivers that started camp on the market. Chris Ballard told us a couple weeks ago that the Colts would consider making a move like that, but it wasn't something that was maybe on the front burner when we came into training camp. We'll see if some of these injuries move the needle and get them to that point. They still have a good amount of cap space to deal with at the moment. We'll see if a move like that gets done. In the hour-plus camp that we saw today, what was maybe the biggest play that stood out to you?
One big play for me, Laiatu Latu, with a nice sack of Daniel Jones, beat Jalen Travis off the edge. This is a little bit of an add to the one play. He did have another good rush like that. Got called for offsides one time, but that's the kind of practice we start to need to see from him more often, where he's in Daniel Jones' face a lot.
Mm-hmm. We'll be back here again on Sunday. The Colts have their 9th practice here tomorrow morning, and be the last practice here at Grand Park for about a week or so. They head to New England. We'll have a joint practice with the Patriots on Tuesday in Foxborough, and then their first preseason game of the season Thursday evening there in New England. We'll be back here at Grand Park next Saturday. But until then, we will have a lot more coverage on our YouTube page, videos like this, our interviews, our maybe some clips from our podcast. Hope that you guys continue to like and subscribe there. We'll also have a couple stories today on IndyStar.com, not only from Colts practice, but Adam Vinatieri's induction speech at the Pro Football Hall of Fame with Carly Ursay-Gordon there to introduce him as well. I'll be writing about that this afternoon, and some more stories throughout the next couple days as the Colts camp continues to move on. Until then, I'm Nathan Brown for the Indy Star. He's Joel A. Erickson. Thanks for watching this edition of our Insiders from Training Camp.
What are your impressions of this defense been, and how nice is it to be out there with Mooney at the same time?
It's been great. The defense been bringing that energy at all 3 levels. Mooney, he's been doing his thing. We've been talking to each other, making sure we're on the same page, just making sure we're all together as a defense. And I think we've been doing pretty good. Especially secondary. Since that's our play. I feel like the secondary, we're pretty complete.
What do you make of Justin Wally? He's kind of been a guy that's standing out, according to Lou and Mooney as well. What have you seen from him?
I mean, he's nice. You know what I'm saying? His IQ for the game, for him to be young and have that much IQ, is great. Obviously, he got all the physical intangibles. He's quick. His instincts are top tier. You know what I'm saying? I like his footwork a lot. You know, he uses his feet a lot. He just make plays.
You mentioned that you want to be able to get the ball more this year, but how do you stay engaged when you might not get tested as much as other cornerbacks? Like, does that weigh on you at all? How do you kind of deal with that when you know any play can probably come back to you?
You know, I don't even give myself no more excuses no more. I just be like, man, if I get 2 targets, I need 2 picks. I need 2, like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I think now. Because we were just joking. I think it was a play. I don't know who ran it, but we had watched the game when we played the Falcons. Drake London basically ran like a little out route, and I had looked back, perfect position. The ball didn't get thrown. There was somebody else in the meeting who had ran it. The ball got thrown. They made a play. I'm like, dang, I just wish I could have got the ball thrown to me on that specific play. You know, but you know, it's one of those things. Whenever the ball is thrown, that's what Coach Chris Hewitt, Coach Ron, they just like we all align right there. Like no excuses. The ball get thrown your way, make a play. Like I don't care if during the season I had 30 targets. It got to be 30 plays made with the ball. So you know, that's what my mind is, and that's how my mind has changed over the years. And I feel like that's, you know, just a growth mindset, growth mentality, you know. So.
What sticks out about Ashton Doolin and Nick Westbrook? You're going up against those guys a lot.
Man, they've been giving me good work, all of us. It's just a blessing to just be able to go out there and just go against those guys. They're making me better, I'm making them better. But, you know, both of them present different challenges. Obviously, Nick, he got pretty good speed. Ashton, he be rolling. Both of them got pretty good hands. You know, they got pretty good route running. So, you know, it's just been great just being able to make them better, and they've been making me better. So.
What excites you most about playing in Lou Anarumo's defense now that you've had a chance to be in here for your first training camp with the Colts?
I mean, just the fact that, you know, I got some of it under my belt already from last season, and that I've been able to start from ground zero this upcoming year. So I'm able to just diagnose everything way faster instead of being in my head like, what I got to do here, what I got to do here. You know what I'm saying?
And after you've had some time to reflect on it, what was last season like? You're battling injury here or there, get traded to a new team in the middle of the season, trying to pick up a new playbook for a team that was trying to make the playoff. What was like? Was it as chaotic as it may have looked at to us?
Yeah, it was chaotic. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. But you know, I can't make no excuses. Hey, I got a call on Tuesday. We're playing in Berlin on Sunday. That was the reality, and wasn't nothing else to talk about. And you playing all the plays, like, you know. So it wasn't like no grace period, no let's get you acclimated to it. It was like learn all this in these few days, go do that. That's what you get paid for, basically. They didn't tell me that, but basically that's what that was. But yeah, man, it's just great to be here. You know, great to just be embraced by the fans, by you guys. You know, and just be able to just be my best each and every day. But I can say that night scrimmage was a little crazy at 8 p.m. But like I said, no excuses. You know, talking about the injury from last year, like that's where it really got me where I needed to be for that night scrimmage. Cause I tried to take a nap, couldn't go to sleep. So then when I got out there, I was just tired. But you know, just on the way, I was just like, man, I didn't even get to finish the last season. You know, so it's really a blessing just to be out here at 8 p.m. playing a game that I love and got a true passion for.
So you talked last year about, you know, you didn't win a lot in New York. When you came here, obviously you didn't get a chance to play enough. Winning is why you play. How motivating is that for you right now?
I mean, we're going to win here. Like, you know, that's the reality, period, point blank. So, you know, I don't really think about, like, the New York scene and all of that. Like, this place, we're going to win here. We got, you know, coaches, you know, it just, we talk about going against like Doolin and Nick, like just being able to go against Coach Shane every day. That's really who I'm going against as well, because he's a top 3 play caller. Like I've obviously spent time with different play callers with the Jets. I played against a decent amount of play callers, but like he's top 3 easily, you know. So, you know, it's just great just seeing all of it come together, and it's like that's making me better. You know what I'm saying? Like any cheats that I'm giving the offense, so they know like, all right, let's run this against them. Let's run this against the defense. So, you know, it's great. Like we have everything that it takes to win here, and you know, it ain't a doubt in my mind about that.
What makes him top
Last
3
one here, James.
in your eyes?
Man, he just know how to dice the defense up. Like y'all job, y'all gonna be seeing, oh, Dan, you doing X, Y, and Z, Dan, you doing this. I mean, Shane is really he's driving the ship for real, you know. His play calling be great, and obviously, don't get me wrong, Daniel, he's playing like a top 5 quarterback right now. You know, there's some throws that he's made here where I was like, bro, that's a throw that I seen A-Rod make when I was in New York, you know. So it's just great just seeing everything come together, just seeing the offense, how they're play calling, how Daniel, he's leading the offense, and, you know, how us as a defense is challenging him as well. So, you know, that's why when it comes to winning, I'm like, man, we got everything that it takes. So we're just going to put it all together.
I'll just get it kicked off. You know, obviously, I'm sure there'll be more conversation about the kickers. It's not a huge update to give on the kickers. Obviously, big night, Thursday night. As we come into today, you know, before we were kicking today, just looking at all kicks. So in practice, pre-practice, all the kicks that we've charted or filmed. You know, there's highs and lows to both guys. I think it's been overall a solid work. Groupie overall is kicking 85%, and Schrader's kicking 83%. The bigger differentiation is going to be when they go live. Schrader hasn't been kicking as consistently as Groupie when we've been going live. Obviously, everybody has seen those live kicks and kind of discussed or known that. And Groupie's kicking 91% before today when we've gone live. But we kind of look at, you know, the big picture overall, like we talked about last time, just to be able to see how are they kicking overall, what's their best ball look like, what are the timing, the rhythm, the mechanics on their best ball, versus is there an issue or something that we can highlight. Under the lights Thursday night, Schrader was 7 for 10. When we went live, Groupie was 8 for 10. I think we started off the night really good. Obviously, we want to kick it over 90%, which we didn't do that, so that wasn't totally at the standard. We did miss, you know, some longer distance kicks as well. That's going to happen at times. You saw Groupie miss from 53, where he kind of opened his hips and pulled it to the left, which is the first time he's missed a live kick. In any situation since being a Colt, both last year in the regular season, he never missed a practice or a game, and he didn't miss an OTAs or training camp up to that point. So, you know, he's no longer pitching a perfect game. We can finally get over that hurdle. Overall, I thought he hit the ball really good. He ended up laying it short from 61. He kind of slipped into his plan a little bit. That's going to happen at times. He's not going to have, you know, he has a very good leg for his size, but it's not going to have elite leg strength. So when he's kicking from 60 plus, he's going to have to get a little bit more into that at times, more so than what Schrader would have to do. Today, I thought Groupie came out, kicked really well. He made 2, you know, into half, you know, situational kicks. He didn't miss 1 from 58. This is the first day we've really had conditions. We had a strong right to left wind, so there was a strong crosswind. Just his 1 miss today, he didn't quite play it in the wind, but that's great just for us to be able to get some conditions for the most part. When we've been out here kicking, it's been really good weather. It's really the same thing with Schrader. Like, it's unreasonable to think after not kicking for 8 months and not really kicking into full operation for 10 months that it was going to come out here and everything was going to be perfect. You know, some of that I think is mental, which is going to be natural, especially with kickers, that he wants to be kicking at the near perfect level he was last September. It's going to take some time for him to be able to get there. All of his misses have been pulled to the left, so there are, you know, a little bit of an issue that we've addressed with some of those things. That it's going to come down to rhythm, timing, and leg swing that he's looking to clean up, and we'll, you know, just expect to see him progress as we continue to go through things. It's a sprint, it's not a marathon, so we're not judging who's the best kicker in the first 2 weeks. We're judging who is the best kicker to make us through the regular season that gives us the best chance to score points and win games. Looking on to the preseason first game, you know, in the joint practice and in the preseason game, we're going to try to get as many guys reps as we possibly can and see how they can handle those reps. I think so far we've gotten more young guys reps, especially on the punt team, than we've ever had before. I think we have a really, really good young group of rookies that's done really well on punt, better so than any group that we've had in the first 3 years that I've been here. We'll continue to feed those guys as many reps as we possibly can. Usually in a preseason game, like each preseason game last year, we play over 50 guys on special teams in a game. So we're going to be rolling in as many guys as we can, give guys opportunities, see how they handle some of those things. It's very possible some young guys, right, are going to have some tough learning moments, but we'd rather have some of those learning moments in a preseason game than a regular season game. It gives us a chance to be able to evaluate guys that are going to be able to give us a chance to be successful in regular season. So we're really excited about that next week. Based on some injuries and things, you know, returner-wise, as we go into the first preseason game, I think punt returner-wise, we'll be looking at Gould, Coleman-Owen, and Higgins are kind of be the main 3 guys that'll be ready to go for that. We'll start off, you know, Gould and Coleman-Owen being more experienced guys that'll probably start off as the kickoff returners, but want to get some younger guys, especially Burks and McGowan, a chance to show what they can do as kickoff returners in the first preseason game. That's kind of what we got coming up.
You mentioned the mental side of kicking. How do you help coach Spencer and Blake through the mental hurdles of that position?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you just need the same mental routine every time you go on the field. So you want to be saying the same small phrase or 3 words to yourself so you're not overthinking or thinking about things. And it can be easy sometimes if you're not in a great rhythm to be thinking about, one issue you may have or to overthink and to hear the exact details you need to do. But you have to stay relaxed and smooth so that you have good timing, you're not leaning or too fast, or that you have a good leg swing. And the biggest thing is like the holder is the caddy, right? So Rigo does an unbelievable job of making sure those guys are relaxed and locked in and trying to make sure that they're thinking about the phrase they need to be thinking about or staying focused on what they need to think about. And he can also feel, like usually Rigo can feel based on where their plant was and how the leg swing was. He can tell live, like here's what happened, and he can then help them out immediately. So Rigo is really the big key piece to that.
What are those 3 words?
Well, every guy's something different.
Okay.
Right now, he's just thinking stay down and through the ball.
Okay.
But everybody's going to have, that's just an example of like everybody's going to have, I try to teach those guys to have something so they're not thinking about 10 things, they're not thinking about the crowd, they're just locked in on the one thing that they want to focus on.
Is Jonathan Edwards really taken like a huge step forward as a gunner from last year to this year?
I think he has, and I think he, some of the experience and stuff that he got last year was really good for him. He's a guy that in the first preseason game last year had an opportunity to make a tackle at gunner, and we don't quite fit it correctly in coverage, and they end up returning it to the house. Like he was the gunner that was right there. You go from that moment to where he is now. I think it's been leaps and bounds. He's extremely talented and has put in some extra work to get to the point where we expect him to have a really good year as being one of our top gunners.
When it comes to this kicker battle, how big is the kickoff aspect of it, directing kicks and getting them where you guys want them to go?
I think they're both really good kickoff guys. I think they both have been working on a variety of different kicks. Both of them were good kickoff guys for us last year. And at the end of the day for us, like we're going to expect our covers to be really good. We're going to expect ourselves to play gapped out and play sound. Very similar to what we did last year, and we played 3 different kickers. So if they don't have a trick kick or they don't have something special, that's fine. We're going to put the ball at the goal line. We're going to let the cover guys do their job. So the biggest part of the aspect of the evaluation is going to be field goal. I don't think kickoff's really going to come into the evaluation because we know both the guys can do what we need them to do.
Talking about Rigo, I mean, going through a kicking competition where you have this consistent battery that's been together for almost a decade now with Luke and Rigo, just how beneficial is that in evaluating Spencer and Blake?
It's great. Good question, JJ. Just because you can expect that they're going to have a solid operation and it's going to be consistent at all times. So obviously it can be difficult sometimes if they're not kicking on the same day in the exact same conditions. You're trying to get them the same reps as best you possibly can, so it's an even evaluation. But it certainly helps, like, hey, there's really not going to be an excuse with the operation. We know that even if it's not perfect, the ball's going to get down. It's going to be correctly the way it needs to be. And you guys can trust that. And you also know, like, hey, we don't have to micromanage Luke and Rigo. They're veterans. They're in their 10th and 11th year in the NFL. They've been with the Colts for a long time. They know exactly what they need to do to be successful. So then you can spend more time focusing on, the kickers and some different things that we need to do there, knowing that those guys are going to take care of their business.
Who's first?
How are things kind of shaping up at linebacker? CJ's been in and out, and then you have a lot of guys kind of rotating.
Yeah, it's still for us, what was this, practice 8, 9, whatever it is. So we're going to be rolling those guys constantly until, guys get healthy again and just kind of find out what best works. But I would envision at that group, we've got great competition. I think it's going to continue until it sorts itself out. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a lot of guys in that room that play for us this year in different type of roles.
So could you maybe be a little bit specialized? Is that what you're kind of getting at?
Potentially, not maybe overloading a guy early in his career with all of it. Maybe give him a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and as they get more comfortable, the more we give them. So at least initially, that's the approach.
Are you overall pleased with that group, what you've seen early on?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a lot on their plates, and they're doing a great job. Coach Betcher does a great job with those guys. They meet above and beyond what they're supposed to, and gets the extra time in, and they're really working hard. So I feel good about it. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I do.
Suspension aside, Cam Taylor-Britt's been really involved out here. Are you seeing a bit more of what you saw in Cincinnati now?
Yeah, I hope so. So far he's been that way, and again, another guy that we're giving a bunch of different jobs to, and he's approached it the right way. Jerome and Chris Hewitt have done a great job there with him, and I know Cam for a long time. Obviously, he's played in the biggest games
started in the biggest games, championship games. So he knows what the pressure's like, and we just got to stay consistent.
With the back seven in general, do you feel like you have more flexibility to be versatile there week to week, just with the depth of the roster?
I think right now, I'm happy where we're at with that group. I think, I think any coach would tell you the more pieces that are interchangeable, the more we can do as coaches. So, and the players have shown us, especially back there, that they can do that.
What's the impact that Sauce can have for this defense on the field? Off the field, how would you characterize how he fuels this defense, leads this defense, and impacts?
Well, I think he's one of the leaders that we have, one of the many leaders. That's the good news. He doesn't have to stand above anybody else. I think, you're talking about Buck and Grove, the guys that have been here that can, lead this defense. Arden Key, who's played a lot of years in this league. Cam Bynum. So we have a lot of leaders. He's in the long line of those, and, happy he's with us.
What's been your assessment of Bryce Fletcher so far throughout camp?
Well, I think he's been good. So to answer the question directly, he's been good. He's a rookie. He's going to make error. We'll have a really good feel after we go to New England, after Atlanta comes here. We play some games, and they're out there actually tackling people, running, hitting. We're doing some of that here, but until they actually get in game situations against, a team that was in the Super Bowl last year, and Atlanta offensively was a good team with a good running attack and one of the premier backs. So we'll have a chance to get a really good evaluation. What he's been put in front of his plate right now, he's done a good job with.
Lou, do you vote for your starters to play in the preseason?
That's Shane. Shane will make that call, and we'll proceed how that goes.
You feel a lot too out there a little bit more there in that final drive, the final couple periods?
I thought our guys today came out with the right mindset. I think it's the middle of camp in some regard, where they know they're a couple of days from leaving and maybe look ahead. But we've been talking about just attacking the day that we're in, and I thought we did a good job of that today, and I was happy. And Latu was one of them.
This does make for a great opportunity for those guys. They're going to get a chance to run some of the routes that maybe they wouldn't get to run otherwise. So, they're getting to operate them with Daniel or operate them with different quarterbacks. And if you can get open and make a play, you show up for the coaching staff and you show up for the quarterback, which is more important, right? Those guys kind of tend to throw it to the guys that prove they can go get open and make those plays. So yeah, great opportunity for the wide receiver room.
Jim Bob, are you seeing the consistency from Anthony that you want to?
He's still working through it. There's really good days. There's really good periods. Like all of our guys, you're gonna make a mistake here and there and try to go fix that thing, clean that thing up. So we're working through that. Lou gives us a bunch of different looks on defense that create problems, and sometimes the disguise can be difficult. So if you're going out there and practicing, you're practicing perfectly. You're probably not getting enough out of practice. So we're competing against Lou in that defense, and there's mistakes being made. There's plenty of coaching for us to do, and for each of our players, there's improvement to be made in all areas. Consistency being one of those.
Coleman Owen has been pretty productive practice over practice. What does he do well out of that slot position?
Yeah, kind of the core things that have to do with being a receiver, at least in the pass game. Get open, catch the ball, be where the quarterback needs you to be. Coleman does all those things really, really well. Really does a nice job setting up routes and marrying different routes so that it is tougher to cover him. On a certain route, he may have an opportunity to use the same stem and break two directions or sit, and he's able to use that against the defense to maximum effect. He's doing a nice job right now getting open, and great opportunity here for him to get a bunch of reps and a bunch of routes, and see if he can carry that forward.
So Bob, with Sauce on the other side, you got a lot of receivers rotating, going up against him. What is the difficulty of that matchup with his length and the way he plays?
Yeah, great question. He's obviously a great player. Some of those play calling situations where you might target an outside receiver one-on-one on Sauce. We try to be very conscious of what we're asking our guys to do there. Sauce is so long. He's seen so much. Even at he's a young player, but he's played a bunch of ball. He's seen a lot of things. Kind of diagnoses things well. You got to be really careful about the tells you have that he can pick up on. But ultimately, just a high-level cover guy who makes it tough on you to complete passes. His length, his athleticism, all those things, his intelligence, all those things play a big role in how he's having success.